Shalom. So we're going to understand Genesis chapter 1 and verse 2. It says, "And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters." Alright, so what we're going to look at is the darkness. Alright? Darkness. We need to understand this darkness. Now, this darkness, it has nothing to do with time. What is this darkness? If you notice, it does not have a name, it does not have a function, it is just literal darkness. Where do you find this darkness? Okay, remember those days when you used to go clubbing and you're there partying right through, you don't know when it's daylight or not because it's so dark inside the club? That is literal darkness, has nothing to do with time. Because if that had to do with time, then you would know, okay, then the night is finished. No, it's day, time to go home, right? So you can be there even 11, 10 a.m. in the club, still partying because you can't tell. It's so dark in there, and then the club lights are on. You cannot tell the difference. So this is a literal darkness. Literal. Literal darkness. Where else do you find this? Another example. Have you ever been in a cave? Maybe some school excursions, right? School trips. You go to a cave. Now, when you go inside the cave and you turn your lights off, that darkness that you see is just literal darkness. It has nothing to do with day or night. It's just darkness. This is why it was not named in Genesis chapter 1, verse 2. That's literal darkness. All right. Now, when you move down to verse 4, you notice that this darkness, what? It gets a function. It gets a name. It gets an office, right? And this name, it becomes night. Because what? At this point, it has to do with time. Now, the darkness called night, this is what? After the first day. So the sun in Genesis chapter 1 verse 3 was the first witness, equals the first witness of the first day, right? So the first witness of the first day is the sun. So when you get to Genesis 1 verse 3, and it says, "And God said, let there be light, and there was light." You get to verse 4, "And God saw the light, that it was good," it was functional, "and God divided the light from the darkness." Now there's a what? There's a separation. There's a separation. Now here you have light, here you have dark. Now this light is equal to day. This dark is equal to night. So which light do you know that makes a distinction between day and night? The sun. It's the same thing you read back down in verse 14. It says, the greater light rule the day. Which light rules the day? The sun. So when it says, let there be light, that light made a distinction between dark and night. It made a distinction between day and night. Right? So that light was the sun right there in Genesis 1 verse 3. And you tell by the function. So this light was, no, it was not the Messiah. It was not some ozone layer thing. It was not some light that you cannot see today, because Genesis is the creation of what? That's the manifestation part of creation. This is the material part of creation that you read in Genesis. The spiritual parts you read in John, John chapter 1. All right? So this is what it means when it says darkness and then light, or day and dark and night. Shalom.